A black nurse takes vigilante justice against inner city drug dealers after her sister becomes their latest victim. Pam Grier in the 1973 classic Coffy. What's happening, everybody in podcast land? How are you? It's Mr. Doug Carrion from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the worst of the worst podcast, where we dissect films, analyze them in a fun way, flip them upside down, turn them inside out, check them out, and we do it just for you. I hope you are doing well wherever you are in podcast land. Are you in Rome? Are you in New York? Are you in Japan? Are you in Los Angeles like me? Wherever you are, I hope the zeros and ones are getting to you. It is great to hear and see you. If you want to check us out in the in the chat room. The chat room's live. Zap on through there. That's how you get through to us. Give us a shout out. We'd love to hear from you. Today, we are going to dissect Coffy with the always wonderful Pam Grier. It is a film that I chose because in 1973, there weren't a lot of films that had strong black female characters as vigilantes rocking the shit. So it was a movie that I get to choose which ones. I was like, that's one I really want to take a look at. It does fall into that box of blaxploitation films, but fuck that. I'm not giving that the nod. I'm giving it just a straight up like woman kicking ass film. It's great. I love it. Let me introduce the guest today. The lady that puts the R in Ratchet. Let's hear it for Miss CoCo Blue. Say hi, CoCo.
How are you?
I am absolutely amped and excited. I am going to confess, I had 3 cups of coffee before the show, so I'm a little bit.
It's fine.
I'm a little bit excited. But,
I hope you have enough energy to handle the beefs I have with you about this movie. I am so ready.
Oh my God! Is it about the titties? Is it about the titties?
No, the titties were great. That's not my issue. I will let you know. Don't worry. I'm not going to hold back.
Okay, so tell me, did you see the movie? Obviously you saw the movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Movie. I saw it a long time ago too, so I was able to kind of like skim through it and like actually get the meat of the storyline, because when I saw it before I was too young. So I actually was able to like delve into the storyline and be like, oh, she was doing it for this reason. But I have so many issues with this movie, and I'm so excited to reveal.
I love it. Okay, can't wait to get that. The second guest for the night, Savage Media Radio's fashion expert. Let's hear it all the way from Seattle, Mr. Brandon Jenkins. What up, peeps? What's going on?
What's up?
Brandon, how are you, my friend? What's going on?
Good.
And did you see this movie? Go, tell me. Tell me. I want to hear it.
I've seen this movie before, and it has been a very long time. So, like CoCo said, she was young when she saw it. I was hella young when I saw it, and my parents used to watch it a lot. That when we had the little Sunday movie days when everybody was off from work and the kids were out of school.
Why was that your Sunday movie day movie?
Please explain
this.
We had no choice. Whoa. We had no choice of what we had to watch. Like, we'll watch, like, Dead President, all of the ghetto type of, if you know what I mean. I'm from the South.
Was that like a lesson? Was like, this is how black people are, so you have to watch this? Is that what was going on there?
It might have been a whole damn cultural thing, unless they were just trying to prepare us for the real world. This movie would not be a good choice to prepare anybody for the real world.
The real world?
The real world.
I'm not sure if it's family entertainment, but it's certainly entertainment.
We covered our eyes on the tits part, so that's fine.
There's too many. There's too many, Brandon.
It's a hard crowd, because last week, Carlos was giving me a hard time because there wasn't enough D. Now we bring all kinds of D, and there's all kinds of problems. Damn. It's hard for a guy. It's hard for a guy from Los Angeles to get a leg up. Let me tell you. All right, we're gonna jump into this movie. Brandon, thank you for joining us, and I love it. CoCo, thank you for joining, being my partner in crime on this one. I love it. Let's dive into this film. We're going to start at the top. So, the movie opens, and there's this great kind of nightclub scene, right? And you see this guy, Grover, walking into the scene, and he's talking to one of these other drug dealers, right? And so he seems to be kind of like the flunky guy, right? And he walks in, and he starts talking to Mr. Big, who's the drug dealer, and his pitch to the guy is, hey, I want you to meet this girl outside because she's strung out on smack and she'll do anything for a fix. Okay. And the other drug dealer guy's like, God damn it, why are you doing this? Why would you bring somebody here? I don't want to hear da 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 da. And he says, no, Grover says, no, really, you got to check this girl out. So the drug dealer one and Grover walk outside and they go to the car and we see the absolute stunning Pam Grier. And she's in the back of the car and she's going to try to manipulate this drug dealer. So we don't really know what the story is just yet. We know there's drugs involved, there's heroin involved, there's nightclubs, maybe even hookers. People are strung out. We're letting it all unfold. And this is within the first 30 seconds of the movie? First 30 seconds. So drug dealer guy sits in the back seat of the car. Grover's driving shotgun. And Pam's trying to woo this guy over to her apartment. And we'll find out a little bit later why. And she lays it on pretty hot. And she's kind of grabbing him by the crotch. You know, yeah. Whoa.
It was not hot. First of all, she let out the most unattractive, in pain moan I've ever heard in my entire life. She was literally crying as if she has like the worst cramps of her life. Before she was like, when are you gonna give me it, daddy, or some bullshit she said. But it was not attractive. It made me like cringe. I was like, what is this? But whatever, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, so in my weird Doug vernacular, coming in hot means coming in hot like she's moving very fast. I don't know about how
I know that, but
right.
that
okay,
was her.
Cool.
That was her trying to move fast, saying like, "When you gonna get it to me?" or whatever the fuck.
Right,
she said.
right. So she finally gets the drug dealer to drive her back to his apartment, right? And the drug dealer, drug dealer one, the granddaddy drug dealer, he's like, okay, hold on one second. The granddaddy, right? And Grover's like, so they're at the apartment, and Grover's like, nah, I just want to shoot up and watch you guys fuck. Like, that's kind of where he's coming from. And pretty quick, you see Pam Grier's topless, right? Now, since I got just hammered, a couple times on Too Many White Titties, tell me what's going on. Is this proper representation of a 1973 black woman? Am I seeing it the right way or not? CoCo, tell me what's going on.
That part actually might be the most realistic part of this fucking movie. The fact that just there's titties everywhere. It's just titties and drugs all the time.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that's the way the 70s were. So that might be accurate. I'm not going to lie. It's nothing but titties and drugs. So
that's good. Brandon?
That's my opinion on it. I'm excited to see what Brandon thinks though.
Yes, Brandon, what do you think?
I feel like she had to do what she had to do to play this damn movie.
Okay. Oh, to play the movie.
For her to play her scene, I feel like for a black woman back then, it was kind of hard to get a role, and for you to just come out like this, I envy this.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's pause for the cause. This film, again, I said at the head there that there weren't a lot of vigilante movies starring a woman as a protagonist, let alone a black woman as a protagonist. Yeah. So that's pretty rare. I give the nod to Pam Grier for jumping in to that role, but also later on, I'll sometimes I talk about a little bit of trivia toward the tail end of the show. But what was I'll say right out of the gate, what was interesting about this one was they shot the movie really fast. Like, the movie was only shot in 18 days, which is very interesting. Yeah, which is pretty badass. And then the other part that's really amazing is that Pam Grier did Foxy Brown, and that came out 9 months later. So within this very brief kind of 70, she blew up really, really fast. So I would agree it was a very pretty bold role for the time. You know what I mean? Pretty bold role for the time. So that's pretty cool. So back to the story. So they're inside the apartment. she's trying to get the drug dealer guy to pull off his pants. He pulls off his pants, and of course he's wearing like purple satin drawers, which I thought was really funny. I don't know if anybody caught that one.
I caught that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. The Grover guy, he's off like getting his junk thing going.
His junk thing going.
His high on.
He's getting his high on. He's getting his junk thing going. And then Pam Grier basically flips around and has a shotgun, and kaboom! The drug dealer guy gets his head just completely taken off. And you see the shot. You see her in the foreground. It's a 2-shot, and you see the back of his head basically just, mangled. He got completely taken out.
It was dope.
It was pretty sick. I thought that was pretty sick. And now, of course, the Grover guy, he's reacting. He's like, "What's going on? What's going on? He's kind of like trying to recoil, and she picks up one of the needles because I guess the plan was they were going to try to drug her or whatever. And she put the needle into I thought she put the needle into the shotgun. That's what I thought how Grover was going to get. I was like, oh shit. That's like, I've never seen that before. But she ends up cornering Grover in the bathroom. And basically she hits him with the smack and then shoots him and he dies. And you see, Pam Grier is, she's not fucking around at all. It's on, Okay. So then the next scene we see that Pam Grier is, she's a nurse and she's an OR nurse. And so which is again,
the coolest,
amazing.
It's a really strong role. They didn't give black women jobs like that in movies. So that was pretty dope.
Right. I thought that was pretty cool that it's like a strong woman and she's also a strong professional woman too, Exactly. So she comes into the operating room and she's a little bit kind of out of sorts because she just shot 2 people. And so her and the doctor have this confrontation and the doctor kicks her out. And then, as she's in the hallway, the 2 cops enter the hospital, okay, and they talk to this doctor, and his name's Dr. Brennan, and they're like, "Hey, man, did you learn anything about this junkie that just OD'd?" And so in walks Carter, and Carter is a friend of Coffy's from way before, and so the story's now really starting to unfold, and you realize that Carter is this guy who's a cop, and he's known Coffy for a long time, and he's dated her maybe a few times.
From the jump, you can tell that they fucked before. Just saying.
Of course, yeah.
From the beginning.
What do you think, Brent? And also Carter was like, he was freaking throwing the moves. He's like, when are we going to hook up again? When are we going to hang out again? Brandon, what do you think?
Hey, let me tell you guys, I could not watch the full movie due to I couldn't find it at all online. And every time I did, I got knocked off of every site. So that part I didn't catch.
Oh my goodness. Well,
so I'm catching up with you guys actually. So you guys are
good.
my eyes and ears right now.
I love it. That's good. It's good. So she meets Carter. Carter's a cop. Carter is kind of maybe a guy that dated her before, but they're not dating anymore. But he definitely wants to date her. And Coffy's trying to explain to him, she's the cops telling her about this junkie drug dealer that just had his head blown off, right? And so Carter doesn't know that Coffy's the one that had basically done it, which is great. But we know, and that's great. And of course, Carter's laying it on pretty thick. He's like, "Hey, when are we going to go out on a date?" Blah, 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 blah. Coffy kind of gives him the shove off.
Kind of like the cold shoulder.
Right. She's giving him the cold shoulder, but she's pretty respectful though. She's not being snooty at all. Yeah, she's not. She's just like, I think we've been down that road. We're not going to go down that road anymore. So, the next scene is at this juvenile rehabilitation center, and we meet Coffy's sister Lubell, and the story starts to unfold, and is that we're learning that Coffy is basically trying to find out who fucked up her younger sister and got her all strung out on smack, and she's going to try to whoop some ass. Like that's pretty much the story in a nutshell. Like,
that's
there you go.
Chip on her shoulder from the beginning, and then she just gets other chips on her shoulder.
Right. So Coffy meets Lou Bell, and Lou Bell. How old do you think she was? CoCo, how old do you think that girl was?
Why would you ask me this question? Oh my god, because she looks like she's like a hot 14, but I have no fucking clue how old that child is.
I don't know. Brandon, did you see that?
I did. I would say roughly around 12.
Yeah. Wow.
She looked
really
young.
She looked pretty young. She looked pretty young to me too. She looked pretty young. But that's a drugs freaking, the drug world is a crazy world. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to wrap your head around the idea that someone that young, but the reality is that does happen, and it happened a million years ago in 1973, and it happens currently. Now. So, underline, drugs are bad. People, don't do drugs. Do other things that are way better for you. Don't become a junkie. That's a bad idea.
Wisdom of the week. Don't become a junkie, guys.
Please don't become a junkie. Please don't become a junkie. We're having fun with this story, but we're not going to glamorize the drug life. Boo, boo.
No
anyway,
drugs,
so
guys. Say no.
Right, just say no. So next scene, Carter or Coffy's driving with Carter because he had taken her to the rehabilitation center to see her sister, and she's asking him like, have you ever had this sensation of wanting to kill everyone?
Yep.
And he's kind of like not picking up
on
exactly
her, signal.
Right. What do you think about that, CoCo? Have you ever been in a spot where you've just wanted to kill everyone? Or two, what did you think, why do you think Carter wasn't listening to what she was saying?
I have had those incidents of rage when I feel like, especially when someone wrongs someone that I care about. So I know that feeling. I mean, have I had that breaking point where I'm just like, you know what? Every motherfucker in this room is going to die. I haven't had that yet, but it's going to happen. But I feel like he should have picked that up from being with her before. He probably has gotten a sense of how strong-willed and how badass she is in the past. I'm sure he should have picked up on something, ask her, is everything up? Well, he did kind of ask, but is everything okay? Or you're not going to do something stupid, right? Or something. At least try to make sure she's not going to go off the deep end. But he was just kind of cavalier about it. But, whatever. It was the 70s. Maybe people weren't as observant. I don't know.
I don't know. Brandon, what do you think? Should he have picked up on that?
I've really had my times where I just wanted to just slap the shit out of everybody, but not kill. That's what, if you have anything, I just smoke weed if I want to get over that. Other than that, I think she kind of should have picked up on that just because he did know her for so long. So you should know her, you should know her movements, if she's lying or not, because you've been with her for so long. So he definitely could have picked up on that.
Hey, guys.
Right.
Public service announcement. We're adding another benefit to smoking weed. It gets rid of homicidal thoughts, apparently. We got to let them.
It does.
There you go. And I think New Jersey is going to be the first one to vote that in, right? CoCo, is that right? Is weed going to get passed in New Jersey first before New York? CoCo? Did I lose you? All right, I'm pressed. CoCo, I lost you. Anyway,
I'm sorry. I said I hope because I'm hoping so that for health reasons, but also it will eliminate all the dead bodies in our waters.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Less homicides.
Good to know. Okay. So, so Coffy's getting ready to pull up to her house. Carter's dropping her off, and you could see she's definitely throttled this guy into the friend zone. Like, he is a friend. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him romantically. Boom! He's off into the friend zone. Snapshot, we meet Mr. Brunswick. And Mr. Brunswick is this city council, councilman kind of Congress guy, and it's Coffy's main guy, right? But what's weird is, so they're in a nightclub. Okay, I'm going back. So we meet this character that she's getting ready to go see. And he's inside this topless nightclub at this party, but is it a cave?
Oh my God, wait.
What's going on?
No, opening scene of the fucking topless nightclub. What was attractive about that dance that white girl was doing? I'm not understanding why anyone would want to fucking look at that. It was just stiff. And oh my God, she had no ass. It was horrible. And the guy's like entrenched in this girl, like she's so fire, and she looks like trash, doing this very regular body movements. I can't even call it dancing. I'm sorry. That irritated the shit out of me. I'm done.
Okay, Brandon, what do you think? Was there some titties wiggling on that one, or no?
It's some titties.
Wiggling.
Come on.
Okay,
This
Doug,
song was
titties don't wiggle.
This movie was all about titties.
Yes.
And they were there.
They were there, but there was not.
Good.
It was left very. I don't know, little to be desired. I don't know.
It was a 70s girl. That dance is totally different from what we got going on today.
Yes, it's true. All right, so we're going to keep boogieing on. So you see the congressman is there with this other guy named Ruben Ramos. And Ruben Ramos is kind of like the chief of police. And the two of them are having this conversation. And we see this one-eyed guy in the background, and we really don't know what's going on. It's this very 70s, early 70s kind of cave club. I thought it was a place called Osco's, I think, in Los Angeles, but I really wasn't able to pick out the location.
Hey, Doug.
Osco's is long gone.
Did you know? Did you notice the bitch was dancing like in the middle of fucking fire? Like,
Yes.
I don't know if anyone noticed that, but it didn't look like it was like protected. One wrong step, which she was doing many of, could have led to her death. I'm pretty sure.
There's definitely would have been some. It would have gotten a little bit hot, a little bit of there would have been a little bit of heat under the hood. How's that?
There you go.
Little heat under the hood. Maybelline. Did you catch it? All right.
You're so stupid.
I'm so stupid. I shouldn't have had all this coffee. Now I'm paying the price.
I like Doug on coffee. It's fine.
Oh,
on coffee.
Thank you.
Okay,
on coffee. All right. So one-eyed guy's in the background. We're wondering, well, who's one-eyed guy? Then one-eyed guy there was a girl going around the room taking photographs, and she takes photographs and actually takes a photograph of one-eyed guy. We don't really know who he is, but he goes into this back kind of like I get dark room kind of an area, pulls out a knife, and for the second movie, we've got, remember in Nukem High where they're talking about cutting somebody's boobs off?
Yep.
This guy
it was
also
definitely prior to 1990, cutting boobs off was a real threat.
Really?
What the fuck? What? We're gonna have to ask Siri what was what is going on with that? Like, I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it was a thing. Brandon, tell me what's going on. I got nothing.
I'm shocked as you because I have not seen the rest of this movie, and I gotta watch it.
Right. Okay. So.
Like, seriously though, Doug, think about it. Though.
Yes.
Like, if somebody threatened to cut your dick off, like, that would be frightening as fuck. But, like...
Scary as shit.
But, like, I don't know. I guess it's a viable threat. I could still use that today and get away with it. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
I think you put the R in Ratchet, so I think you're gonna own that one. You gotta try
I'm gonna own the shit out of that.
You're gonna own it. Okay, cool. So we find out that the congressman owns part of the topless club, and he's there with the chief of police, and they're having this meeting. And then we snap to Coffy and the congressman back at his apartment, and they're fooling around, getting it on, blah blah blah. But she's having all these flashbacks of the drug dealer that she shot his head off, and the other guy in the bathtub, right? And he says something really strange. He says, he says to her, a man my age can't satisfy them lusty young bitches anymore. Did you catch that one?
I actually didn't catch that. That's
holy
weird.
shit! That was a really, because he's trying to figure out why she's vibing out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so he's telling her, he's like, whoa, a man my age gets to the place where he can't satisfy the young lusty bitches anymore. Pretty interesting. I realize in this movie that guys have no fucking control. Like they're just if they see a girl, they're like Yahoo, and they just jump on them. It's amazing. It's amazing.
You're just now seeing this, Doug. You're just now realizing this.
It's taken a while for guys to evolve, and I hope they've evolved a little bit. But this is a great depiction of like, wow, guys were just freaking crazy gropers.
Think about it though. They were also on every drug imaginable at that time in the 70s. So I mean that probably adds to like the horniness a lot.
Okay. So are you justifying it?
I am not, but kind of because
Okay.
I'm not, but kind of because it was a different time, and also women put up with a bunch of bullshit. So yes, it's their fault if you allow men to act this way and degrade you. Like it's your fault.
True. And then the other side to that is, could they have portrayed men to be that just fucking clueless, because then it made Pam Grier that much stronger.
Exactly. That's a good point.
She played them weak.
Right. So they play the guys as just like horny jackrabbits that just fucking control themselves. Right. But I think that the contrast to that is it makes Pam Grier all that much more
badass.
Just badass. So needless to say, Pam and the congressman are done having sex, and they're in front of the fireplace and they're having wine. And now I learned something that I had never seen before, which was this thing called either wine dick or whiskey dick. Now, did anybody catch that post the conversation about vacation that they're not going to do because he's got to do his Congress thing? She pours wine on his dick and starts working it?
Yeah. I thought y'all were done. I have no idea what's happening. Can I please also point out that random fish tank, like fucking pan of the fish tank? I was like, why for 3 minutes of a random, it's not like they're having sex. They were having a conversation after sex. And I'm looking at a fucking fish tank that has nothing to do with anything. Whose idea was that?
In the business they call that an establishing shot.
It's ridiculous.
Quick question.
You're so stupid.
Was that actually called whiskey? Is that what that was called, whiskey dick back then? Is that what they used to do?
I know. I was 8 years old. What do I know?
Yo, done.
I don't know. I just thought it was pretty. I just thought it was very creative of Pam Grier to use her wine glass, whatever was in that glass, as a lubricant. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was, busting out of the box. I love it. Okay, cool. Moving forward.
For the record, Doug, Kevin's looking at me like I'm crazy.
That's good. It's okay, Kevin. The podcast will be over soon. Don't worry. She'll be back to herself in a little while. Don't you worry.
You're so stupid.
I know. I'm incredibly slow. So Coffy's driving. She's having flashbacks about her sister. She's thinking about that. She's on her way to work. She pulls up in her Mustang, and here we go. We have just some guy, like random dude, walks up to her in a parking lot. Is like, "Hey, baby, can I get in on that?" Trying to jump in her car. Did you see it?
I'm like, what?
Did you? What?
Either she's very well known in the area,
right?
Or that guy just assumed, which is fucked up because she's a black woman that's dressed nice in a car, assumes he could get some sucky, so that's fucking fucked up. I couldn't figure out
the way she was dressed. She was a hoe throughout she looked like a hoe throughout the whole movie.
I think she was reserved enough.
Dressed nice. That bitch's cleavage was out the entire show.
But
yes. No, she was rocking it.
I think she was classy with it though. For the 70s, for 70s she was classy with her sexy.
Okay.
I think she held her own. I do think she held her own.
Yeah.
I know, Brandon, for you, having more of an eye on fashion than I do.
True.
Some of it was probably funny, but also, it was very accurate for the time. You know what I mean?
I can definitely say that. Well, yeah.
it's like there were some things that later we'll get to King George's like mustard suit that he was wearing.
Oh my God, I'm so ready for King George. Continue first.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna keep crushing along. So Carter steps up because he's apparently at the parking lot where Coffy works, and he shushes the guy away. Coffy's reflecting on her killing, and I'm wondering, and so Carter's going to take her back to his apartment because they need to talk, right? They want to talk. Hey, let's have a coffee with Coffy. Get it? And I'm wondering, like, this guy doesn't have a sergeant or anything. He could just split whenever he wants from work. Like, what?
Doug.
What was, I know things were different in the 70s, but what's going on?
Listen, Doug, listen. He didn't say, okay, she said, let's go get a coffee. He goes, I make a mean cup of coffee. He did not want to fucking talk. He wanted to just get her in his house. But then, of course, she wants to be serious because she's really going through something.
Right. Well, okay, now, see, here's where it was. He's in the friend zone. He's trying to pull that shit back into the real zone, into the zone, right? So what does he do? He doesn't go to Denny's for a coffee or whatever.
He's telling her to go upstairs.
He tried to have some whack-ass, half-ass cup of coffee that she just faked and said,
made coffee. He didn't make the coffee. He's just trying to get her back to the pad. He's trying to get her back to the scratch pad. I know what's going on.
Those are the excuses back then.
Carter, I know how you work, buddy. I know how you work. He's trying to get her back to the pad. So, needless to say, they're back at the pad. The phone rings, and Carter picks up the phone. There's this mysterious guy talking on the phone, and we're learning. And Carter says something to the effect of, like, I don't want to be any part of this. I don't want to have anything to do with you guys. And we realize that Carter's partner is trying to get him to be involved in the prostitution drug world, and Carter doesn't want to have anything to do with it, so he's a good guy. Needless to say, the next scene, these goons bust into Carter's house, right? And they bust into Carter's house.
That was so random, by the way.
It was, and Pam Grier gets punched in the nose. It's pretty violent scene with the goons. One of them, wait a minute. One of them like rips off her top. Did you catch that? And the others trying to rape her.
By the way, my father kept saying, "Wait for the titties," and I'm pretty sure that was the scene he was talking about. He kept saying, "Did you see your titties yet?" They went boing yoing, and I was like, there it goes. There it is.
That's so funny. So we learn when the goons bust into Carter's house that there's this drug dealer named King George. He's in from Vegas, and he's kind of one of the main guys. Remember, Coffy's mission is she's on this mission to try to find out who's really dealing the drugs on the street, who got her sister strung out, and she's going to whoop some ass. So she's kind of learning these clues as she goes along. We find out about King George.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
You're going to ask me later who my favorite character is, and I'm going to say King George. And you know why?
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I hope you can hear this.
Yeah. Yes. He's pulling up in his
I just hope to be that cool to have my own fucking theme song with my name in it. I'm sorry. I walk down the street. CoCo.
We'll write one for you. I'll write one for you. Come on. You give me some of the words. I'll write one for you. And
awesome.
Speaking of writing, by the way, Troy, where are you, buddy?
Right?
I love you. You sing so great. Maybe you need to write and sing the song.
Yes,
come on.
We all need theme songs. Get on it, Troy. He's listening. I know he's
Come on.
listening.
We could be like the Mod Squad. We each have our own theme. That'd be so badass.
Yes.
I think mine would.
What you thinking?
I think mine would be really fast. Like mine would be. Mine would be really fast. I'm just saying. Brandon, what would your theme song be like?
One of those songs that you played last week on Still Listening. One of those really fast songs that talk about a lot of sex.
Those are good songs. Quality music. Top shelf only. Brandon, what would your theme song be? Come on. Is it a funk song? What is it? What's your theme song?
EDM.
Brandon, I lost. EDM. No.
Of course.
Brandon, he's out of the mix. I know where Brandon is. He's trying to like look
He's
over his notes?
Yes.
He's trying to cheat. He's like watching the movie right now.
No, I'm sorry. I was on mute. No, I said an EDM song.
Of course.
Okay, good. See, Courtney called it. Okay, cool. So,
no, because I'm like, wait, shut up. Wait, no, wait. I'm here.
Right. No, I love it. Okay, so Carter's in the hospital, and we find out that Carter has pretty bad brain damage because the goons beat him up really bad, which adds even more to Coffy's vigilante justice agenda. You know, she's trying to figure out what's going on. So somehow or another, Coffy realizes that one of the dope dealers is this lady named Priscilla. So she's looking for this lady named Priscilla. And it's the daytime, and she goes to find this, you know, she's kind of like in this funkier part of town. She walks to this big house, and she walks in, and she sees this white lady that she had known from the hospital. And it's this junkie lady named Priscilla, and her Coffy's motive for being there with Priscilla is to try to find out who King George is. That's really what she wants to do. So what's your take on Priscilla at this time, CoCo? What are you thinking?
You know what? I feel like this was stupid. One, because you're a fucking nurse at the hospital, okay? You stitch this bitch up. So what if she goes through something else and sees you again at the fucking hospital and says something like, "That's the bitch that tormented me in my house"? Well, how are you're gonna have a lot of explaining to do. Like, I don't understand why that was a good fucking idea. But anyway,
can you guys explain who Priscilla is one more time?
So Priscilla is one of the junkies that Carter had told her that worked for King George. So what's happening is that Coffy is trying to get clues to get to the kingpin, which is King George, or Arturo Petroni, who is the other main drug dealer source. So there's two main drug dealers. So she goes to Priscilla. She's trying to shake Priscilla down for information. Okay. Priscilla's doing junk because she's a junkie. And of course she's all junked out. And Priscilla's girlfriend, Harriet, walks in. Okay. and at first Priscilla said, you know, I'm not going to give you any information. You better get out of here. My man's coming home in a minute. I caught that. And then a little bit later, she's talking about her girlfriend. So I'm like, is it a guy? Is it not a guy? And then,
oh my God,
might as well be.
In comes Harriet, and Harriet's a big black woman.
She's an Amazon bitch. That's
she's
what she is.
Big. She's as big as the doorway. Okay. And she comes in and she's like, what the fuck is going on? Because she thinks that Priscilla is throwing a trick, right?
Yeah.
She thinks
she said
while
she
Harriet's
left
away
for her to throw a trick, and she said, "Came back here. You're in here with some nigga lady or some whatever." She said. I'm like, I was like, lady, you're fucking black. Why are you saying this?
Whoa! But I do gotta say that when Harriet swung the chair over Pam Grier and it smashes over the fireplace and the chair splinters and she's like, let's get it on, bitch. Yep. And it's like, whoa, they are not fucking around at all. I mean, that was a serious fight. Like, I would not have wanted to be anywhere close to Harriet. She looked like she was hella pissed. You know, Priscilla's doing junk. She's thinking that Pam Grier and Priscilla are screwing. Woo! I'm telling you, Harriet's not one to fool around with.
I was kind of concerned for Pam. I was getting worried for Coffy, but she held her own and she ran away, actually. But it's all good.
And she laughed. And
then she laughed, which is great. Because she she heard the white girl getting yelled at, so I was like, this is great.
Right. Did you see that, Brandon, or no?
No.
Oh,
no, not that part. No.
Okay, so next scene, in comes Mr. Cool, who's King George, by the pool. Cue the music, boom chicka boom, and King George is wearing this great gold jumpsuit. Brandon, tell me about the jumpsuit. Please tell me you saw that.
I did see it. And the only thing I can say, I like the glasses. That's it.
That was
it. Everything else was corny and it was disgusting. I've never liked the mustard color any damn way. But the glasses I will rock 24/7. But other than that shit is a throwaway.
Listen.
Okay, Courtney, question for you. Does King George curve to the right or to the left?
I'm done. Yo, with that theme song, I couldn't care less, honestly. King George can get it. Nah. In 1970 something, he can get it. I don't know about now. I don't know about today. But
It was funny because it's like, if you're going to wear an outfit like that, having a beer belly isn't really going to help your cause. You know?
Exactly.
Now we've got Equinox and all these other things that people work out. But either way, it's the 70s, so you could have a little tire and keep curved to the right and wear your mustard jumpsuit or whatever it is.
You are the flyest thing in the world, walking down the street.
It was pretty good. Okay, so what's happening here is that Coffy is trying to pretend that she's this Jamaican goddess. And she had a horrible Jamaican accent, I might
talk
add.
about it, because that was trash.
Courtney, go with that.
I was so aggravated because I love my Caribbean people. Like, I'm not Caribbean, but I swear I've adopted their culture, so I respect the Caribbean, like the accents, all of that, and that was trash. I was very disappointed. I was impressed up until then. I was like, no, this isn't happening. Who is she gonna convince? This bitch is gonna die.
Right. So it was Brandon. Any thought on the accent, or did you catch that, or were you watching it in French? He's gone again.
He's on mute again.
So he's on mute. I talk too fast. So she does the weird Jamaican accent, and what she's trying to do is she's trying to convince King George to hire her so that she can get closer to, I guess, Arturo and try to kill King George. That's her plan.
Which was smart.
First which is smart. Again, she's a kick-ass lady. So she has to do the fake Jamaican accent. King George, I guess, is going to hire her, and he takes her back to his brothel. And the opening scene of the brothel is one of the girls is talking about having sores on her back from being on her back too much.
Yep.
And you're like, whoa,
these fucking whores.
What is going on? And then Helen is the one, and she's getting sent out to do like a blowjob in the office.
Yeah.
Which I guess is like, don't worry, it's only an office job,
Right.
Okay. I don't know what office that is, but there you go. It's the 70s. King George decides to call Coffy Mystique, which I thought was pretty cool. And of course, none of the girls are having it.
No. No. Being the new bitch, oh my God. And being cute, you catch hell. You are going to catch hell.
That's bad. Now, I did at the scene where Mystique comes in, Mystique/Coffy comes in. Was it me, or did anybody catch the lady at the bar? Was she a cross-dresser? Did you see the woman?
Oh my God, Doug! I thought it was just me. I was like, this bitch is a man.
It's a dude, right?
It's a dude. I thought it was just me. I was just like, maybe she just looks a little rough. But no, If you said it and I said it, she's a man. Definitely a man.
Okay. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that caught that. Brandon, did you see that?
You guys need to send me this link
ASAP.
ASAP, because this movie is getting so good, and I'm like, on YouTube, I'm like, I want to see where this scene is.
Okay, I'll talk you through it. And also, it's, I do want to say thanks to Vudu for helping the show. It's cheap. It's $2.99 on Vudu, so you can.
Yep, I got it on Amazon too. $2.99.
Yeah. It's floating out there in the cloud. It's really easy. So we covered the cross-dresser thing. We learned from Priscilla that King George stashes his drugs inside the fireplace. In the fireplace, there's like this little metal grate, and below that is where he puts his drugs, right under the ashes. So we go in. Now, King George, basically, before he hires Coffy, he wants to test the merchandise. So he's going to run her in back, right? Of course. So we meet Meg, and Meg is King George's steady girl, right?
Oh my God. Is that the white girl with the terrible voice?
Yes.
I think her voice is trash. I was like, I can't listen to this. House is sexy.
So she's the one with the weird Southern accent, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, weird Southern.
The weird Southern accent.
It's just her voice is also bad, Brandon. Don't even
give me an example. Okay, can you mimic what she did? Can anybody mimic what she did?
No.
No, you gotta look. You gotta watch it, dude. You gotta watch it. It's a classic. This cinematic classic. So King George brings Coffy into the room, and did you catch the like rabbit fur bedspread? Did you see that thing?
Yes, I saw that. That's something I could totally rock with. I'm all about the fluff. It doesn't gotta be real, but best believe if I could find a replica rabbit skin bedspread, it's gonna be on my bed and under my body.
Right. It's pretty. That I don't know how you dry clean those things.
You don't.
I started to get, and then with all the what that's going on in that movie,
gets skeevy.
Whoa! I was like, man, I don't think I'd want to lay on that rabbit fur. I'm sorry, I got a little bit.
You can get it at
Nordstrom. So you think they're throwaways? They're like McDonald's napkins. You just use one, boom, toss it, just get a new one. Okay,
they're disposable.
So Coffy and King George are in there. You see that the stash is in there. Now, King George walks Coffy back out, and there's this swingers party going on because we are, after all, at a brothel where King George runs the show. And we meet Petroni, and Petroni is this other guy, and I couldn't figure out if he was like Hungarian or Lebanese or what his deal was, but he was
something
this other
swirly.
Right. So he's this other guy, and basically he's kind of like the main importer, if you will. Like he's the main contact where how they get their heroin. So he's kind of, I don't know. He's one of the big guys that gets the heroin. And you see, as this swingers party is going on, you see the bald guy who is the one that shook down Carter. Okay, so you're like, oh, wow, Petroni must be, remember we were talking about the mysterious guy that Carter's partner wanted to meet them, So they're all connected, okay? So George is showing Mystique / Coffy off to Petroni. Look at this beautiful lady, blah, 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 blah. And then one of the other girls intentionally spills all the drinks on Coffy / Mystique's really beautiful outfit.
Was she in on this, or did Coffy just use that to her advantage? Was she in on the whole thing, helping her get into that room? Because that was perfect. I mean, at first I was mad at the bitch, and then second I was like, I see what she did there.
Right.
So I couldn't figure it out.
See, Coffy's smart.
She's very smart.
What she did was she used the drinks being spilled on her.
She didn't trip at all. She was just like, no, don't worry about it. I'll just clean up. It's just a mistake. Because she knew what she was about to do.
Right. And so she shoots off into George's room, and she goes to the fireplace, and you realize what she's going to do is she's going to swap out the heroin with sugar pills or some kind of sugar powder or whatever. That's her plan, to try to get George's customers unhappy, and then maybe they're going to retaliate with him or whatever. But after she does that, the most savage thing she does is she cuts a little lock of her hair and she hides a razor blade in her wig. Whoa! That and so trivia wise, that was Pam Grier's idea.
Like her ad-lib, pretty much.
Really?
Well, she knew. She's like, this is you want to make this thing real. Here's where ladies put their weapons in their hair, which is like that just gave like bonus points to Pam Grier on being like legit. Like she's straight up.
Yeah, she was legit like a badass to think of some
fucking
shit like
legit. Like, here's how you do it. You hide this shit up in your hair, and then when when it's the right time, you cut a bitch with a razor.
Pretty much. I didn't know if it was a razor. I thought it was like some kind of pin, like not pin, but like a needle or something. It didn't look like a razor to me.
That was later. She got the needle later. That was later.
Okay. Got it.
Got it. Right. So needless to say, she goes back out there, and all of a sudden, she says to the Meg girl who had threw the drinks on her, "Here, have some salad," and she throws a salad on her. And of course, now it is a straight up cat fight. People are getting punched out.
As always.
People are getting knocked out. Titties are flying everywhere. But what's great about this is better than any WWF, anything like that. What's great about it is that Pam Grier is kicking all their asses.
Yep.
All three of them bitches.
Everybody that comes through her, she's like, I got some for you. Boom. I got some for you. Snap. I got some for you. Cut. So she's just kicking ass. They don't know what's going on, but in some strange way, this turns the Arturo guy on. And the Arturo, who's the main, we're going to call him Lebanese drug dealers, like, I got to have this girl. I got to have her. She's the greatest. So he's starting to get, he's going from flaccid to chubby at this point. And he's thinking, I don't know. He's thinking, I think I got to get things going with this girl. Of course, because she's playing the role of a prostitute, George is like, but of course, that's what you do. And so I think that Coffy is going to go to the politician's house, but no, she's going to Arturo's room. And so the next scene basically is this hotel room, and it's Arturo Petroni, who's the other kind of sleazy drug dealer guy, and they're drinking champagne. And at this point, I'm thinking 2 letters, SP, soft porn. I'm like, whoa, this is just really getting a little bit. They blurred this line between vigilante and soft porn.
Yep.
And there were a couple times where I was like, ooh, this is making me a little uncomfortable. Am I the only one, Brandon? Did this make you a little bit uncomfortable or no?
Oh, I'm used to all type of porn.
Okay, so it's not a big deal. All right, well, cool.
It's not a big deal, though.
Okay, so needless to say, Arturo is just a piece of shit, and he's calling her bad names, and he's spitting on her and doing all these things, really degrading her. And I'm like, fuck, this is fucking, that guy's an asshole. And then what does she do? I think at one point and then all of a sudden, she pulls out a gun. And she had this gun hidden in her purse. One of the goons races up and punches her again. So I got to say, Pam Grier now at this point has taken 2 punches, and she's still kicking ass, knocking everybody out. So I'm happy that, she's rolling deep and holding her own. At this point, what she does is Arturo's trying to figure out who are you? Who hired you to come kill me? Yeah. And she's very smart. And what she does is she says King George was the one that had sent her. Now, why is she doing that? Because she's smart, and she knows that if Arturo kills King George, that's just one
less thing she has to worry about.
Yeah, one person she has to worry about. So, needless to say, she's kind of telling the guys that King George is the one that sent her. Then the one-eyed man appears, right? And you realize that the one-eyed man and Arturo work together. So now all of them are kind of connected. And the one-eyed man says he recognizes who this girl is. And he's like, Arturo, you're in all kinds of trouble. Okay. So that egg is thrown out there. Next scene, we're hanging out with King George. He's cutting up some Coke in the bathroom. That's what they did. That's a normal thing. He's putting the Coke in the fireplace. He grabs the Coke, and he grabs the placebo Coke, the sugar. Right. And so he goes to get, right, so he's getting ready to go on a run. He's got the bogus drugs. Yeah. He goes downstairs into his limo, opens the door, and one of the goons is there with Arturo, right? And one of the goons is there, and they're going to take George to Arturo. So George is now in the car, wondering, where are we? What's going on?
What's going on? Yeah.
Right? They take this guy way out into the woods, right? And it's on Mulholland Drive. And they throw a noose around him. They tie it to the back of his car, and they start joyriding. And so George is getting dragged all over the place, and he's pretty much it's pretty bad. He's getting fucked up pretty bad. And finally, the car crashes. And we're trying to figure out, why didn't Studs, the limo driver, do anything? And Studs' reaction is like, hey, man, my mom didn't raise no fool. I'm not doing anything. Right. That's what he said. I'm not getting involved in this. You're going to fucking kill King George. So this one, believe it or not, is a score for Coffy because she didn't have to do anything.
Exactly.
So George is dead. 1 point for Coffy. And then you see the one-eyed guy is now following the congressman, and the congressman is getting he's getting interviewed. He's trying to talk about how if you vote for me, it's better because I support the black community. The white community isn't very good. There's this white power structure that's holding everybody down. Blah, 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 blah. What happened was one of the goons had taken Coffy and locked her up in this sauna on Arturo's property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so she's looking so she's been in there for a long time and she's banging on the door. She's like, I need to get some water. I'm thirsty. The goon doesn't let her out. He's like, no, I'm not going to let you out. You're going to hit me with a rock or whatever it is. But while she's searching at the bottom of this sauna, and it was kind of weird because the sauna had all these like cigarette butts on it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch that?
Yep.
It's kind of gross.
That's disgusting.
But you don't have an ashtray? What's going on? But she finds this thing that looked like a very large safety pin. And so she's sharpening this safety pin on a rock, and she's kind of stashing it in her hair, and she's waiting for her opportunity that she can jump out. She's stashed in her hair. She's waiting for her opportunity. So finally, you see the congressman is going to this meeting way out in the desert, and you don't know who he's going to meet. But at the meeting, it's Arturo. It's Ruben, the head of police. It's the one-eyed guy, and they're all meeting. It's a meeting of the minds, and you find out that the congressman Howard is basically involved in a lot of the drug action, and that's why he's involved in everything. But poor Coffy doesn't really know.
She has no clue about it, and I felt so bad. But that's a great storyline, though.
Right. So finally, the goon basically Coffy jumps out, and the goon is now taking Coffy to meet the congressman because it's on the same property, and the congressman kind of disses her, and he's like, I don't know that girl at all. It's just some girl that I fuck, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And Coffy realizes that she's definitely on her own. She is on her own. Howard's not going to help her at all
because she really cared about him.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of sad. So Arturo is setting up the congressman, and now he's asking Coffy who had sent her to kill him. And Coffy tries to do the same thing that she did with King George, and she's trying
to flip the script.
She's trying to flip the script and say that it's Howard that basically did it, which is pretty smart. Again, to have, it's kind of like she's smart. She's pitting two people against each other, two opposing forces against each other, and hope to benefit herself.
Issue, yep.
Right. Finally, the one-eyed guy is telling, he's talking smack, and he's saying, "Oh, you shouldn't trust the congressman. He's a bad guy. Blacks only stick with blacks." Blah 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 blah. The next scene where basically we're with Mac, who was Carter's partner, and it's Coffy is in the back seat with one of the other goons, and they have the fake remember they had killed King George, but they took his satchel of bogus drugs, so it was the sugar heroin. It's not really the real heroin, it's the sugar heroin.
Yep.
Right? And so she's very smart, and she says to the goon, like, "Oh, if you let me have some of that junk, I'll sleep with you, blah, 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 blah."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, because we're in this world where guys have no self-control, the guy's like, "Cool, I'm going to get laid." So,
and again, she does that unattractive moaning, and like, I can't take it.
You're so funny. So, needless to say, she and the goon guy, so she shoots up the sugar. Okay, but the sugar's not going to do anything to her. Remember, she's also a nurse, so she's smart. She knows what these drugs do. He's trying to sleep with her like in a trash heap under the freeway, right? It's like, wow, what's going on there? Right, and then before you know it, she pulls the spike out from her hair, and boom, she zaps the goon in the neck. right? And he's bleeding, screaming, you killed me, you stabbed me. And the cop, Mac, is like, I'm out of here. So he drives away. So there's now one cop drove away. The other cop that was in the back seat who was watching her, he's chasing Coffy. They make chase. She's now running across the freeway, right? And she's escaping, right? But the other cop who's chasing her, he's like running across the freeway. Zap, he gets hit by a car. Okay, so he's dead, right? Again, Coffy didn't kill him, just bad circumstances killed him, right?
Like, it's all adding to her good luck, pretty much.
Exactly. It's all adding to her good luck. The other cop, Mac, he's trying to find her. He's chasing her in his cop car. Finally, he catches her in this lumber yard, and he's chasing her down, and she's running. And she pulls a great move. She picks up is it a rock or is it a pipe? She picks up a pipe.
I think it's a pipe.
And she throws this pipe. It hits the windshield. The cop car flips. Boom! It explodes. It's upside down. It's leaking gas. She's smart enough. She sneaks over. She grabs the shotgun. Right? She grabs the shotgun out of the car. The cop's crying, "Help me! Help me!" She's like, "Fuck that!" Boom! Boom! She shoots into the car. She's got the shotgun now. The car goes up in flames. She escapes. Yet another person has died. So she's checking off her list, trying to do right by Lou Bell. Finally, Coffy hides the shotgun in this bush over by this park bench, and she's sitting over by this park bench, and this rando rolls up. He's like, "Hey, baby, you need a ride?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So she gets in this car with this random guy, right?
Yep.
She says, something like, I'm super thirsty. Can you pull over so I can get some juice or juice or something? Of course, the guy's like a dumbass, pulls over. She steals the guy's car. Okay. She steals the guy's car, and he's chasing after her. She goes back to the park bench. She picks up her shotgun, and now, now that she has the car, she knows also that Howard is going to he's going to Malibu, to this other house that he has, and so she's going to take the car and try to find him. Okay, so she's driving toward. She's driving. She goes back to the original. Remember where they had her captive in the sauna house, and she rams right through, and she literally drives the house through the car and kills the one-eyed guy. He gets
I saw that.
over.
Yes,
that was pretty badass.
That was.
Of course, Arturo's running like a coward. He was, and of course, she shoots him in the pool. Which was pretty funny. Spoiler alert, there's no blood. Usually if you shoot somebody in the pool, there's going to be a lot of blood. just so you know. That was kind of the worst part of it. But they shot it in 18 days. They didn't have that much.
So what do you expect?
What do you expect? There's a gun, there's an explosion, a guy's dead, boom. What do you want from me? So finally, what I was wondering was, after Coffy rams the car through the house and kills One Eye, where's the Reuben guy? Like, what happened to him? He vanished. He ran out the back door. We never see him again. So there's a trail that a storyline that just, we don't know what happened, but we do know that she ends up killing Arturo in the pool. Finally, before Arturo dies, she finds out that Howard is at his beach house. So she's going to take the car and she's going to go down to find Howard.
An exact revenge.
Right. And so now, and we're starting to, I'm seeing, I'm flipping my pages here, making sure I don't miss anything. Okay, great. So finally she goes to the Malibu house, right? And she's talking to Howard, and Howard's laying it on super thick, like he wants her back. Come on, Coffy, you should be with me, blah, 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 blah. And he's trying to sweet talk her. But then all of a sudden you realize upstairs Howard's got another girl on the side. Right?
And she's like, what? I love it.
She's like,
no, I may have given you a chance before,
right? We might have done the wine dick or the whiskey dick.
Yep.
But this is it. And then kaboom, the shotgun goes off, pow, and if I'm not mistaken, Howard Brunsnick gets blasted in the nuts, right? Doesn't she shoot him in the crotch?
Yes.
Yes. That was pretty intense.
That was sick.
It was pretty cool. Vigilante Justice 101 right there. There you go. There's Coffy walking on the beach. Boom. Up roll the credits. There's some great music. And we have concluded the fantastic, super, super great Vigilante Justice film from 1973 with Pam Grier.
I'll give it to you. It's not horrible. But
no.
You could tell it was rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's the only thing. Like, it could have been, it could have the potential to be more iconic, or not iconic, but more like, I don't know, I guess influential, right? If it wasn't so rushed. And I feel like that's where the worst of the worst comes in, because it was obviously, the storyline was obviously mismanaged. And I think that's kind of where that comes in. But it had potential, though. I can give that to you.
Brandon, what do you think? And would you recommend it for someone?
If you like movies like that, because my manager, she actually loves bad movies, like the old Bats movie. She loves those type of movies. So I'm gonna try to introduce her to this, and I'm gonna see what she's not into this type of content at all. She's a really Christian woman, so
oh my gosh,
I'm gonna try to get her to watch this, and I'm gonna see what she's gonna say. But
would you recommend it though?
I would. I honestly would.
I think
it'd be like a good comedy.
I think it's a fun movie to watch as a group. You know what I mean? Like, it's movie night. About. Yeah, it's just a fun movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty cool. Brandon, did you have a favorite character?
I'm gonna have to go with Hot Mama.
Okay, you're going with Coffy. What about you, CoCo? Did you have a favorite character?
Like I said, I like King George for the laugh, for shits and
you're
giggles.
going for
only for that outfit, girl.
All right.
Yes.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna flip in a slightly different direction. I'm gonna read a couple of the taglines. Okay, so I'm gonna cue up the movie voice. I'm gonna read a couple of the taglines, and you guys are gonna tell me which is the best tagline. Okay, so you want to hear a couple of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. No one sleeps when they mess with coffee. That's one. The second one is coffee'll cream ya. Okay. Kind of dorky. Whatever. Kind of dorky. They call her Coffy and she'll cream ya. Okay. Let me go. I got a couple more.
Who hired this person?
She's the godmother of them all. Okay. Whatever. Okay. Two more. The baddest one chick hit squad that ever hit town.
Oh my God.
Okay. And the last one, she had a body men would die for, and some do. Okay, what's your favorite one? Come on.
I'm going to have to go with the last one. I have to.
I'm going to go with number 3.
Irrelevant to the fucking movie altogether. Does not give you an idea of what the movie's going to be about. But it works.
The Godmother one? No,
the one, the body that men would die for.
Oh, okay.
That one, because that would sell. That'd sell. That had to sell it.
Okay. Brandon, did you have a favorite?
I was counting them down. The third one is the one I liked.
Okay, good for you.
I was really counting them down. I was like, okay, how many do we got? He said 5. Okay, let's go.
Right.
And they were all really good. They were all so good, Doug, actually. They were all
cool. Don't lie, Brandon.
I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. So we're going to start winding the show down. Brandon, I'm going to go to you first. Is there anything that you want to tell us what you're up to, what's going on in your life, what's going on in podcast land, anything that you have, or how people can reach you out in social media land? It's your chance to plug what you do, plug your wares.
I am just working. I have trips coming up that I really want to go to. I want to meet up with you guys soon as well. California is a trip for September.
You have to come to Jersey.
You know I have to come. So
Yes.
my friend lives in Jersey as well, so that's where he's planning for me as well. So the trips are coming, so the money has to keep coming as well. So I'm working constantly. I love fashion. You guys can catch me on Instagram, Facebook. Instagram as Rude Contour. Brandon Jenkins on Facebook. I'm here, you guys. Everybody want to talk? You can also catch us on Sunday at Savage Media Radio as well.
Cool. Courtney, what about you? Anything you want to tell everybody about? Push, hype?
Yes. We have some new exciting interactive things coming to Savage Media Radio, especially on our live show. We're adding a little bit of some more humor to my segment Savage Bullshit, so we'll talk more about that on Wednesday. It involves fun with phone calls, so that's all I'm gonna hint to. So we're doing that, and I also have a business venture that I'm gonna try to, stir up, and it'll be like my second business. So hopefully I'll be able to talk about that on Free Yourself this Saturday at 7 p.m. Other than that, you can catch me on Instagram at It's Coco Blue. You can catch me on Facebook, where I am hilarious. Just type Courtney Blue without a U. So Courtney without a U, and then blue like the color. And that's how you can find me.
I love it. Okay, cool. Got that going. All right, now are you ready for the reveal of the next movie that we're going to watch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ready,
okay.
Brandon?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm listening. Head on. Let's go.
Okay, we got to get the movie voice going. Ready?
Drum roll.
Drum roll. Here we go. 6 violent criminals in a halfway house must band together to survive the night. Hack House.
Oh, God.
So we're going to go for a horror film, Hack House.
Yes, it's horror. I don't care if it's bad. I'm so excited.
Hack House.
Okay, so we're going to do Hack House starring James Howarth and Brittany Joan White.
What year is this?
1917. It's this year, 2017.
What? Oh, 1917. I was like, what? It's in silent?
Sorry. No. There were horror films back then.
True. No. Very true. Okay, I'm excited. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my God. Kevin's definitely gonna have to watch this with me.
Yes. So get ready for that. So we'll put the trailer. Hack House is the one that is going to be on the queue for next week. I might have a special guest next week too, which I'll tell you about later. Let's see what else is good and groovy. I think that's kind of about it. I want to say thanks to Courtney and Savage Media Radio for having me come and do the podcasts and stuff.
Of course.
It's great to partner up. I love it.
It's so fun.
Indeed. If you're looking for the worst of the worst, you can check us out on Facebook, Worst of the Worst Podcast. You can also find Savage Media Radio Community on Facebook, an easy way to connect. On the Twitter and the Instagram platforms, it's at podcast WOTW, so you can find me there. It would be great if you did a review or something like that on iTunes. So that's a platform for Savage Media Radio and also for Worst of the Worst, where if you want to help us keep things going and you want to do a shout out or whatever, that's the spot. So poke your way over to iTunes and do a review. It helps us. Give us 500 stars and tell us what you like. If you want to maybe suggest a movie, you could do podcast WOTW@gmail.com. If you want to drop a line also, you could do savageonair@gmail.com. Other than that, that's basically where we are. I think it's time for us to say goodbye until next Monday from the Worst of the Worst podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Courtney, play some music.